The tariffs can be quite significant initially in the small parts that will actually arrive from overseas, and they will be having multiple tariffs that can be added on because not everything can be actually manufactured and supplied within the US, and this will be the manufacturing industry also impacts into the digital area because a lot of the car manufacturers are impacted by the digital supply as well. And then obviously when we get to the end of the manufacturing process, you then have the tit-for-tat process of what US can do, other countries can do. So the buying of cars actually manufactured in the US can be more expensive to buy in other countries.
I mean, this is your specialist subject. You write about this in your most recent research, talking about supply chains vulnerable to disruptions. We have kind of been here before, haven't we? If you think back to the supply chain disruption during the pandemic, the Panama Canal crisis, Ukraine, the Middle East. How disruptive is this tariff disruption?
Okay, the immediate one at the moment with the tariffs, the biggest impact is going to be the manufacturing areas and also in agricultural areas. They're the two biggest hits right now if it goes into long sustained areas. Obviously, manufacturing products such as the large components that are coming in, they will come in via shipping, and if that starts to actually impact and slow down the sales of cars, we will actually see less shipping containers being used. And as we saw in the pandemic, now those shipping containers become displaced globally, and those shipping containers then being displaced then became rather expensive to get back into where they should be within the supply chain routes.
Now, this can be rather unpredictable. Mr. Trump makes a speech, it gets lots of headlines on Twitter and the rest of it, it leads the news bulletins, and then a couple of days later there's a bit of a row back, so it's very unpredictable to answer this question, I know. How quickly would these extra tariff and shipping costs trickle down to the consumer? If I go out and buy a Tesla in the United States, how long before I'm hit? Weeks, days, months?
That's going to be the multi-million-dollar question because we've already seen a stop-start by the Trump administration. We are going to do it, then we're not going to do it, and then the response from respective countries actually happening. So this might actually be a non-entity, or it might be a full global tariff trade war. If it does become the latter, there'll only be so long before the manufacturers can actually hold back the costs, and then it will start to trickle down to the consumers. Then we've got the consumers not being the end consumers, such as you and I, Jamie, going out to buy the car, but then we've got the first, second, third, fourth and tier supplier consumers within the supply chain.
Jonathan, I think I'll stick to the company Moped. Thank you for that. Jonathan Owens, Senior Lecturer in Operations and Supply Chain Management at the University of Salford's Business School.